Hello and welcome to the B-Bun episode 43. I'm your host Baron Marf and I'm joined as always by the legend himself, Angry Link. How are you doing, buddy?
Struggling to find ways to live up to this legendary status.
No, you are the legend, so do not doubt thyself. Link, what have you been up to in your gaming week? What have you been doing, buddy?
Well, no Pro Evo this week.
Whoa.
But GTA Online, obviously, it's the general staple of the gaming diet. But I had a little blast on Rock Band 4 again.
Nice.
Obviously, I got some free money from Amazon some weeks ago, and I've sort of forgot all about it, and I thought I'm going to go and spend that. And what better way than on new tunes for Rock Band? So, I picked up a few sort of casual ones, a bit of just classic rock and tunes that I enjoy and I like. And then I thought I'm going to go for some challenging stuff and picked up a little Pantera pack.
Right, so let me just preempt this for the listeners. Basically, Link's a bit of a badass on Rock Band. I watched a friend of mine, a guy called Kia, who used to rock out on Rock Band quite a lot, and I was always amazed that this guy could play pretty well. And I appreciate this is button pressing, but it ain't just button pressing when you start to get into like expert and stuff like that. It's actually quite full on. You are hitting the notes, albeit you're not holding frets on the board, but you're hitting the notes to the rhythm. You're strumming to the rhythm.
Yeah.
It comprises of all the notes that you have to hit.
It's a one-to-one note basis.
Thank you. That's much more concise than what I got to. And so I always thought that Kia was pretty badass, and then I watched Link just basically decimate a track on my game, and he passed me back this plastic guitar, and I was like, holy shit, what has he just done to this thing? So you are pretty badass. So for you to hit a challenging sort of mode is this stuff's got to be pretty serious.
Yeah, like I say, the Pantera is fucking proper solid. It really is. It's just such random weird key changes. It's almost like it seems like it's backwards to everything else, and basically I've ended up crippling my fingers after like 3 songs. It's just like, yeah, I can put that down before I do myself a mischief. So yeah, it was that. But I like those tunes. I mean, I remember I had Don't Stop Believing, and I never got past that first bit where obviously you got the diddle, 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 and it gets faster and faster and faster, and the tempo picks up. I'd get through about 3/4 of it, and then my fingers are just like, you aren't dexterous enough for this, get away.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like that with Spirit of Radio by Rush, because I got that. I absolutely adore the tune, but I've never been able to get past more than 15 seconds of the song. I still can't. I'm fucking useless at it, but no fail mode. So I can at least listen to it and play some of it. But yeah, it's proper solid. But I mean, if you're not going to go in for a challenge, then what's the point, really? Yeah,
you've got to step up your game. Cool.
How about yourself? Still been rugging in with Gears?
Yeah, man. It's this and that, actually. Last weekend I was really ready to sort of go balls deep on Gears, and the Coalition have been having some serious server issues. It was pretty much unplayable. Wasn't telling you what your character... It wasn't basically fetching your data from the server. It was janky. And that's really weird, because Gears is always... Its main staple of just being solid.
Can I just interject there? Don't forget, the Xbox Live service is the one you can rely on. Yeah. I swear, since they've made that statement, mine has been playing fucking silly buggers. I know it's not my router. I know it's not my cables, because it's never had a problem before.
And you don't have issues with anything else?
Yeah. No, that's it. My PlayStation's fine. My internet's fine. I don't have any problems sort of on my back end.
Well, thank God, because you'd have to put cream on it. But yeah, no, I know just generally that the Big M has been pitching how solid its network is, and to be fair, this is to do with the Coalition's management of their servers, and they've recently sort of gone up and said, yeah, we know it's fucked, guys, we're working on it, thanks for your patience, and here's some double X Spliz for the weekend, double XP, baby. So I'm probably going to be jumping in there at some point. Did have a little dance with GTA, but all in all, it's been a relatively light gaming week. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Well, hopefully it changes next week. Hope there's a bit more time.
That's what I'm looking for. Right, let's bust on over to Bullet Bill's Big 3. Bullet Bill's Big 3. It's the news, baby. It's the news. And busting straight into the first bullet hole, it's over to you, Link, and then back to me. I'm taking the first one this week, and we've got a bit of Injustice 2. So this is NetherRealm, Ed Boon's company. As we all know, Injustice came out a few years ago now. Based on DC, it's basically a Mortal Kombat with DC characters.
Yeah.
And they're now starting to pitch us Injustice 2. There's a lot of buzz around this game, surprisingly, and we're a bit of a ways off before it's released. It's not coming out until the 16th of May. Yet they're still pitching it pretty hard, and we've seen some new trailers.
Well, so they need to get the hype train out early, don't they?
Yeah,
because it's worked so well in the past. Over the last year for a lot of people.
No, so new trailer. Effectively, it's all about positioning of the characters and why they're doing what they're doing. Opening scene is Superman chained up, and they're basically explaining how he seems to have a little bit of an issue this time.
I think they're sort of following on from the Dawn of Justice, the whole themes of overpowered people, and are they a danger or a sanctuary for humanity and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and what happens when the people who we basically give the keys to the city to start having to do more than what you would want them to do, or maybe interpreting what is safe or right for the people. It's a really good trailer. I'd strongly encourage people to look at it, because one of the comments you said to me, Link, was, damn, they need to get the people who do these trailers to actually do the games.
The films, because
films, very much so.
Because they weren't terrible. It's not like, don't get me wrong, it's not Superman the Quest for Peace, but it was not far off, really. It was somewhat of a dull film, and two people like Batman and Superman fighting, how that can ever seem dull it's beyond me. So Injustice, one of the things I like about how they've taken this approach is actually you don't quite know who's right and who's wrong. For me, when I watched like Dawn of Justice, it was very much like, Superman, you need to stop playing by the people's rules. Batman still got the moral high ground. Where in this one, it's a little bit more spurious, isn't it? Yeah, I was going to say it's very ambiguous, because it does sort of point on the what's the line that you should draw, especially when you're dealing with someone that's prepared to go all out to create this destruction and madness. Well, how far can you go to counter that? Yeah, and there's lots and lots of rumours like flying about at the moment about who's in the game and who's not. Who's the end bad guy? Who's the sub boss? Recently announced that sort of the sub boss is Darkseid, which is effectively DC's Thanos. And yeah, that looks pretty cool. But I think we're looking at Brainiac, because at the end of the trailer you see somebody lowering a helmet down on top of their head, which has a light symbol on the front and blatantly wires and such like coming from it, which is very much Brainiac's scene. So I think we are going to see him as the end boss. But do you know what? Some things which really surprised me in the trailer itself was we see Superman putting his whole forearm through the Joker. Yeah. So evidently the Joker. I mean, you also see Superman holding the body, who we assume is probably Lois Lane. Yeah. With potentially a baby as well. You saw the ultrasound. Yeah. Of the child or a child.
Yeah, and it looks like. The impressions when you start putting two and two together is that the Joker's probably being played part of in Lois's death. And Superman's not too happy about it.
Do you know, I couldn't help but think of Mallrats when I saw that bit.
In what sense?
Jason Lee, obviously, he's talking to, I can't remember the character's name, but he's basically saying that it's a physical impossibility that Superman could make Lois Lane pregnant. He would end up killing her by shooting his load up her. Yeah. It'd be like a shotgun blast going off. Yeah. And I just couldn't help but think of that.
Yeah, yes, it's a lovely thought, Link.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, all in all, it's
I'm
worth
it. Fuck you so hard, I'm going to blow your brains out.
Yeah, love you, baby. So yeah, all I can say to people, go have a look at the trailer. It's really well written. Love what they've done with the character designs. You know, we watched Superman give the Flash a bit of a hiding, then he chucks on a load of armor, but it's silly little things like the heel of his foot gets armor around it to make it tougher, to allow him to travel quicker. Yeah. They just really done some great design elements. Batman just looks fucking rugged, and yeah, so definitely worth a look.
No, it does look interesting. I think they've expanded the roster a bit, and there's a bit of a better variety of characters. Obviously, you've got an enormous roster of possibilities. Unfortunately, Aquaman's there.
Yeah,
and there's just nothing they can do to make that guy seem cool or badass. It's just like, no, you're just a guy that swims about.
Yeah.
And you've got a sidekick called Swallows.
Yeah, and fish. I perfectly summed up. Go look at the Family Guy representation of Aquaman, where some woman's getting effectively raped on a beach, and he's just stood in the ocean going, "Oh, come over there." Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Just wait for the tide to come in.
Yeah, I've got some fish. Yeah, amazing. So, moving on to our second bullet hole for this week. What we got, Link?
Well, obviously with the massive amounts of info from the Switch last week, it was a bit of a surprise, but a Fire Emblem Direct from Nintendo through midweek.
Yeah, doing a Direct just on one IP. That's
well, it's very much Nintendo's thing now, isn't it? They don't really do the big song and dance, the big conferences and all of that. I mean, the Switch reveal obviously was a necessity that they had to do, but we don't really see much beyond that anymore from the big N. But no, so obviously there's big news dropped for Fire Emblem fans. We've got the release date of Fire Emblem Heroes, which is their iOS and Android title. That's going to be free to play.
How do you feel about that? Because for me, I don't want these IPs, these really, crucial games to move into this free-to-play model. I want to pay for it, and I want the whole game.
Well, I think they've seen the backlash created from Mario Run, because everyone's like, "Oh, I love the game, but why do I have to pay for it? It's on a mobile. What should I have to pay for it?" And just being complete mugs. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I think it's a bit steep, the money, especially now that the iOS price has gone up in Blighty. Obviously, thank you Brexit.
Yeah, thank you Brexit.
So yeah, now I can understand people sort of. I personally don't see Super Mario Run as a £10 game.
So it was $8.99. I bought it, as I tend to with these sorts of things, and it was worth every penny.
Yeah,
I've played it through once. I haven't even started on the coin challenges yet. Very, very good game. Really, really good game.
No, so anyway, back to the Fire Emblem ones.
Yeah, why don't we talk about the topic? Yeah,
they have obviously brought it down into a bit more of a bite-sized chunk of gameplay. So it's the standard same Fire Emblem gameplay. So you've got your rock, paper, scissors, different character or different classes are better against others. Mm-hmm. But it's all done on a single screen, so it's not a big expansive map like you'd see in the 3DS titles or previous titles.
Yep.
And it's coming in February the 2nd, so it's just around the corner.
Wow, that's super close.
So yeah, looking forward to that. I'm, like you said, there's a bit of trepidation if it's going to go completely. I'm going to rape your wallet of all your money.
Yeah.
Like you see some of these games where it's a ridiculously steep entry, and once you're kind of invested, you find yourself falling down the rabbit hole of, wait a minute, I swear I had more money on my account. Oh yeah, Fire Emblem. So I'm a bit worried about that, but hopefully they don't take the piss too much. But this is Nintendo, so I'm thinking it could potentially take the piss. Well,
they're partnering up with the right people to take a piss. So I say partnering up, but they're in the space of people like Apple who love it.
Yeah, so that's dropping for iOS and Android at the same time. So that's all good.
Cool.
On the back of that, Mario Run is going to be dropping for Android in March sometime.
Cool.
Not got a precise date, but again, you can obviously pre-register and then they'll let you know when it's available. But we also had new Fire Emblem game announced for the 3DS, which is somewhat of a surprise considering we've just off the back of Fire Emblem release, obviously late last year. So we've got Fire Emblem Shadow of Valentia. That is falling on the 19th of May.
Oh, cool. Okay. So, I mean, I love the fact that we're still supporting the 3DS.
It's still a solid console, though. It really is, because obviously we've heard today that, obviously this week, that the Switch won't have Street Pass or anything like that, or the Miiverse.
Miiverse, yeah.
So
no great loss.
It's one of those. It's still, for me, their sort of portable gaming system. It's just that the Switch is now, if you want to, you can take Zelda with you. That kind of thing. It's positioned itself firmly as a different beast. So yeah, that's going to be dropping on May the 19th. I think that one's a reimagining of Fire Emblem Gaiden, which I never played, so I couldn't tell you much about that one.
Whether this whole statement is a lie or not.
Yeah, and they've announced that there will be a Fire Emblem title coming to the Switch, which is obviously not Fire Emblem Warriors, but a full standalone Fire Emblem game, but that's not going to be until 2018 earliest. So, yeah, that was pretty much it from Nintendo this week. So a bit of a quiet week, but some big news for Fire Emblem fans.
Cool. So shifting over to our third bullet hole for this week is, let's just say Junk Tech Reviews, which, by the way, I would encourage people to go watch. Just check it out. It's 2 or 3 guys sat there getting pissed whilst talking about stuff. They've kind of released a little bit of a late video, came out on the 18th of January, it's on YouTube, where basically they're talking about the announcement of the Switch.
Yeah.
And they're doing so with a lead design or senior designer of Titanfall 2, a gentleman called Alavia Mohammed, or Mohammed Alavia. But either which way, he's talking a little bit around his impressions, and they're a little bit pissed up as they're doing it. But generally, it's really good video, really interesting, quite frank and honest conversation about, I'm never going to do that, and I would do this. But one of the things which he did comment upon is he kind of said, you're never going to see AAA titles on this thing. Obviously, during the trailer, they then allude to Skyrim. He goes, yes, that is a AAA title, and blah, 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 blah. And then towards the end, they kind of say, what about Titanfall 2? Are we going to see that? To which he quite diplomatically said, fuck no. You will not be able to play Titanfall 2 on the Switch. That game, that's the Zelda from the Wii U.
Yeah.
So I think we all know where Mohammed is with this one. He doesn't like it. He's not impressed. Do you know what? It's quite a cutting statement, really.
Yeah, but for me, it's not much of a surprising one. I mean, when you were pre-ordering your Switch, and we was chatting to the young lady that was helping you.
Hello, young lady.
Yeah, she was sort of going on about with the third-party support, and it's like I say, man, I wouldn't buy a Nintendo console for Call of Duty.
I wouldn't buy a Nintendo console for third-party support. I know they never get it. I know they always say that they have. If you look at all of the press releases, or if they're stood up on stage talking about it, they put all these names on the screen behind you. But when push comes to shove and they wheel out Ubisoft or whatever, they go, yeah, so there's Switch, we're happy to support that, and I'm sure we'll do something in the future.
We've got things in development.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you want to commit to actually spending the money and telling us you're going to release something? No, I don't want to mention that right now. So yeah, third-party support doesn't seem to really happen.
No. I mean, it's a vicious circle though, because unless you have the games, you don't get the sales, but then you don't get the sales unless you've got the games. So it's one of those. If it sells 15 million within sort of 6 months, yeah, EA will be tapping on Vince Apala's office door and going, hey Vince, what are the chances? Because I think, to be honest, Titanfall needs all the help it can get, because it had massively disappointing sales for EA. I mean, whoever decided to release it in between Call of Duty and Battlefield 1 is a fucking idiot, for one.
Yeah.
Now would have been the perfect time to release it.
And it's a shame, because it's such a strong game.
Yeah,
it's really, really good, very well received. They've even thought, hey, maybe these guys want to play one player. So, it's a really solid game. One more question on this one, though. How long do you reckon Mohammed's going to have his job for?
I don't know.
Nor do I. Best of luck, Mohammed, but we appreciate your honesty. Let's bust on over to our What's the Beef, Chief. Oh, it's the beef. It is the beef. It's What's the Beef, Chief. This is, as always, our section where we vent our frustrations at the gaming industry. And what's the topic this week, Link?
Microsoft.
Grrr.
Why it seems to me that Microsoft are screwing the pooch with their stable of IPs. Obviously, we saw last week the cancellation or the announcement that they've cancelled Scalebound, one of one of the most exciting looking IPs that Microsoft. I mean, Platinum Games were making it.
Yeah, Platinum is solid as well.
And yeah, obviously they've cancelled Scalebound. I mean, there was reportedly it was in trouble, and obviously there are always rumours flying around in these things, in these situations, but quite frankly, it looked like a brilliant, solid-looking game.
I mean, what we know, so for anybody who doesn't know Scalebound, effectively, young guy wearing Beats headphones riding dragons.
Yeah, well, it was an action RPG,
yep.
basically, and like you say, you've got a big-ass fucking dragon as your mate, and there was going to be 4-player co-op in there, like I say, big over-the-top action, RPG elements. You could then obviously change your dragon and put them in and obviously different ways, so you could be a big tank of a dragon or a bit more nimble flying around kind of guy. And yeah, they fucking canned it.
Were you looking forward to this IP?
I really was. Out of everything that Microsoft have been releasing, other than Sea of Thieves, this was really had caught my eye. I'll
be honest with you, when I saw it, I liked the idea of it, but it wasn't on my priorities list in any way, shape or form. I think it was novel, and I liked the fact they were doing something different. I went, yeah, there's something different, a fresh idea. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy into it, but great. I'm glad you're mixing it up, you're challenging yourselves a bit.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, we obviously, having done some research for once.
Whoa.
They've obviously cancelled a few big titles recently.
Like what?
Obviously, we've had Phantom Dust, which is obviously a remake of the original Xbox title, which I think they announced it a couple of years ago, and then I think within about 7-8 months they were like, no, it's going nowhere. We're putting that on the back burner. It's cancelled. And again, the biggest one for me, which I think they're complete morons for doing so, is closing Lionhead and obviously effectively ending Fable. I mean, cancel Fable Legends, granted, because to be honest, nobody wanted that.
Yeah, cancel Fable Legends, cancel Peter Molyneux.
Well, thankfully he'd fucked off a long time ago, and he was then scourging. He was the scourge of the free-to-play market.
Poor 22 cans.
But yeah, no, Fable for me is such a solid IP. I mean, it had so much potential. Again, I still go back to the first one being the best one, because that was the one that was directly made by Lionhead and had very little interference from Microsoft. Obviously, if you read into the story, there's more and more interference from Microsoft, and they, obviously, because they owned the studio, had their greasy little hand in it, thinking they knew best, which clearly wasn't the case, because you buy a studio because of their humour, their irreverence to subjects and how they go about things, and then you try and tell them how to go about things, well, it's going to go wrong because you're not letting them spread their wings.
So Fable, the thing for me that I always liked about Fable is it's that kind of very, dare I say it, British sense of humour.
Yeah.
You know, the old chicken plucker, all that sort of stuff.
Exactly. There was so many things about it that, I mean, whilst it was overpromised, but Peter Molyneux, so you kind of, it's par for the course.
It's a given.
But there was so much about that first one that was so good. I mean, I love the idea that you could go into one town and you're a saint to them. You go to another town and you've basically decimated the whole village, you've bought up all the properties, and you're this fucking evil magnate, this evil landlord, and everyone cowers in fear at you. And I just love the freedom that I mean, at the time, it was a pretty much sort of new thing. Nobody had seen that kind of freedom from a game, and I absolutely adored it. I've still got to try and pick up Fable Anniversary Edition. I don't know if it's backwards compatible though. If it is, it's a definite purchase for me. But if it's not, then hurry the fuck up, Microsoft, and bring it to backwards compatibility.
Yeah, I mean, just very quickly touching on Fable Legends as a perfect example that, when I say to you Fable, you think, great, a character-driven story where you develop your character throughout the game. There is usually an issue in the world or kingdom that you're in, and you end up basically starting as a small child grunt or something to that effect, which eventually over time you work your way to the top of the stack. Yeah. And it's how you do that influences the world around you.
Like you say, it's big, expansive RPG in a nice, wonderful, living, breathing world.
So logically, the thing to do is then develop Fable Legends, which is
a MOBA.
What the fuck, man? Seriously, I mean, they're not listening. The people who like Fable. They don't say, we like Fable, so take the idea of Fable
and put League of Legends
and completely change it. Yeah.
Can we have a League of Legends Fable? Nobody asked for that.
How much do they dip into Fable Legends?
It was reported it was around 75 million, and that was just development costs, let alone marketing.
Muggins.
Generally, most of the time, when you see a
50-50.
budget, it's marketing gets a big chunk of it.
Huge part of it.
So yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those. I think it's looking at what's left. I mean, Recall. I don't know if Microsoft actually own this IP or not.
Yeah, do you know what? I was really unsure of this as well, and Recall was on my list of like, hey, look, this is something that only Microsoft have got.
I don't know.
But do they own it? Not so sure.
No,
not so sure.
You got Forza, but again, unless you like going around in circles, it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
Halo. Obviously, you got Halo Wars 2 coming very soon. I think it's February, isn't it? That's out. You've got Gears. Obviously, which they've just released one for. Obviously, it's a solid game. Crackdown 3, which is maybe due sometime this year. I think it's still in the pipeline.
Crackdown 3 is now Scorpio.
Yeah.
So it'll be out when that does.
Yeah. And the only really out of that lot, the only one that I'm kind of excited for is Sea of Thieves.
Right. Okay.
Because Recall, I mean, yeah, great. It's a new IP. It's an interesting idea. It's got some solid developers behind it.
Good game, really good
Forza,
game.
I've got Horizon 3, so where do I want to go? I can go around an entire circle on a continent, so why am I going to do it on a track? Halo, I've never really been too fussed about Halo, let alone an RTS Halo. Gears, again, is just meh for me.
Yeah.
It's just here's another bland palette of greys, browns, and red.
Mostly red when I'm playing.
Yeah, but it just seems it's just an iteration of the same game, but with a new story.
Yeah, very much so.
It's basically like watching Game of Thrones. It's just like, okay, there's dragons, there's a incest, and there's
floppy penises.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the same. Oh, wasn't it like that last year?
Sure.
Yeah, it was. But that person got poisoned.
Great.
But it's exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, just generally for me, so. Top of the list for IPs, Nintendo. They know their IPs, they own it very well, they protect them very well, and they really utilise them.
Doesn't YouTube know it?
Yeah. Secondly, for me, Sony. Sony don't seem like they don't have the strength of IPs, so they attach themselves to Crash Bandicoot and such like, but it's not really theirs per se.
It's obviously it's an Activision owned IP. But yeah, you would look at Crash Bandicoot, and that is a PlayStation mascot essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But when you get down to Xbox, I think the only two which really just hammer in my face as we are the IPs of Xbox is Gears and Halo.
Yeah, it's Master Chief and Phoenix,
and they are absolutely flogging the shit out of that stuff. And in some instances, and taking away the actual redesign of Halo and what they made it in Halo 5 recently, they're also not doing a very good job at owning and taking care of the storylines in these games. Though anybody who's played Gears 4 will know that the ending is a bit of a non-ending, really. Halo, same thing again, bit of a non-ending, and it's all this thing of like, because we're going to churn more of this shit out. Well, I don't want you to do that.
It's exactly like Game of Thrones then.
Yes.
So it's just like, we're going to sell you an ending that you know is not an ending.
Yeah.
Great.
So, I don't know what really Microsoft have been doing with their IPs, but it seems like one, not a lot. And kind of my stab, and it's a rhetorical question, is, what's the matter? Run out of cash? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean,
shit scared? What's going on?
I was going to pose a few questions to you and see your thoughts on these. I mean, where do you see Microsoft going from here?
I generally feel like they do not have any sort of game plan. I know they're not going to be knocking on my door to tell me what IPs they're developing in the background, but there appears to be sweet Fanny Adams out there.
Yeah, I mean, to me it seems that they're not really worried about customers and what they want. It's what the shareholders should get.
So Fable Legends.
Yeah. Like you said, that's why they went for the games for a service. Games as a service, because it's cheap to do and you get shitloads of money out. Yeah, if that's good. And 100 million people play it.
Yeah.
But, that means they've still got to buy an Xbox. Which, as we've seen, not many people or not as many people are prepared to do.
Definitely not in December. Sony maxed it out again.
And again, are Microsoft afraid to take risks? I mean, I saw with Recall, I thought, oh great, they're trying something new. Scalebound, they're trying something new. Phantom Dust, I mean, it's resurrecting an old IP. Even Fable Legends, to an extent, they're having a go at something new. But now that's all stopped.
It just feels like to me that they've just packed up their balls and gone home for the day.
Yeah.
They have put some money in, foolishly into the wrong direction. I keep labouring Fable Legends, but to spank 75k in development and just walk away with nothing.
That could have paid for Fable 4.
Yeah.
And having read some of the stuff that the team and the concept for it, it sounded unbelievable. Just like it was more of a sort of a Victorian steampunk era one. How fucking cool would that be?
It would have been amazing.
And again, with the power of the cloud.
It just sounds like they're not listening to the customer base, or they're not engaging them. But either way, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
No. I think they are really dropping the ball. I mean, I've had nothing but admiration about how Xbox have handled the Don Matic situation, i.e. picking him by the scruff of the neck in a Philip Banks sort of Fresh Prince era-esque. Out goes Jazzy Jeff out the door. That's the same thing that happened in Redmond with Don Matic.
See ya, Matic.
But yeah, no, it's just they. Don't get me wrong, Nintendo have flogged the shit out of their IPs. But the one thing that they've always done is they've made quality titles.
Well, we were talking a little bit about Kirby earlier on, and how Kirby's a great example of how you can take an IP, you can refresh it, or you can do something completely different with it. And what Nintendo have done religiously, as to play to your point earlier on, is what they've done is they mix it up and they do something crazy where you have to use a stylus to control where he moves, and then the next one will be back to the core Kirby. That's what you love, and the next time will be like, here's a Wooly version, and they're not afraid to mix it up. And pretty much, if it's got the word Kirby on it, I'm pretty much going to buy it because I know they're so solid. Yeah,
but and this is the thing. I think. I just can't see Microsoft being that company that goes, it's a bit far out there, but let's go for it. But I suppose the one final question that I was going to ask really was, is there anything from what they've cancelled that you're going to miss? Is there anything that you've missed? Story from Halo.
Yeah, so there is something that I will miss. It's them sticking to the games that they make that we love and delivering it. Specifically, where the fuck is Fable 4? And I mean Fable 4, which is Fable. Not
action RPG with an expansive story and a rich world to explore.
Imagine what they could be doing with the consoles which are out now.
Yeah. But
Shame on you.
Shame on you, Microsoft.
So Microsoft, what have you got to do? Go do some headhunting. Go do whatever you got to do, but get your shit together, boys, because we're missing it. We're missing some decent IPs.
I think eventually people will get bored.
Weak and pussy. Well, look, we're going to tap out at this point and shift on over to our Uncharted. Ooh, we find ourselves in uncharted territory, a place for meagre ramblings about video games, which is pretty much the whole podcast anyway, but whammy, here we are. And Link, what are we going to hit up this week?
Well, not so much uncharted territory, because we're going to hit up GTA Online.
Very charted territory. Welcome to the revised section.
Yes.
So GTA, beastie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Beastie of a game.
It's been well over 3 years.
Yeah, so came out, October 2013?
Yes, so it's the month after it released worldwide.
And this game has spanned 2 generations of consoles. It's seen many an update. It's a staple part of most people's gaming diet. If anybody's got GTA, they are still playing it. I don't know anybody who's put this game to bed.
Well, I think I've coined the phrase many a time, it is the phoenix that keeps on rising, because you think that's dead, I'm fucking done with it, let's move on, and then GTA? I'll pass it around.
Yeah, I'm down for that. So, let's talk a little bit about where GTA started and how it's changed over the years. So, I mean, there's been a plethora of updates. What have we seen, Link?
I mean, if I'm going to just list through them, and...
Is there many?
There is absolutely stacks.
Hit it.
straight off the bat, there was the beach bum update, which is vehicles. We had the content creator, which obviously allowed people to make stuff.
That was a pretty crucial update, wasn't it?
That was a massive update. So races, that kind of stuff, different game modes.
And there's people out there who, these are the people who are buying games like Little Big Planet, stuff like that. They are creative. They want to do this sort of stuff. Then there's people like me who just think, fuck that. You create it and I'll play it.
There's plenty of other people that do this stuff, so I'll just go and buy it.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever used a content creator, but it has played a huge part. And if you go on YouTube and look at some of the videos out there...
there's some absolutely awesome races.
Yeah, I mean,
really good.
A little one that I really liked, they recreated the Top Gear track.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, I had a little go at that myself. I've actually got to redo it because you've got the stunt editor. You can just do it all up in the air, so you can actually get, hopefully, a proper recreation of it. But I've not played about with it for years, so let's have a little go. But anyway, back to it. Obviously, we had the new mode for multiplayer. Obviously, that was capture.
Yep.
Then we had the Christmas holiday gifts, which was then followed by the Valentine's Day...
You've said enough.
Yeah. Valentine's Day Massacre.
Yeah.
Obviously, then we had the business update, the High Life update.
Well, so, I mean, talking to some of these updates, so the Valentine's update...
It's just, basically, a lot of them, to start with, were just, here's some stuff to spend more money on.
Yeah, so, I don't know, here's a couple more weapons in the weapons shop, and a couple of cars or something like that.
That are ridiculously expensive, that unless you're going to grind the shit out of it, you're going to go and buy some money.
Damn right.
And I mean, that was a lot of it for the early sort of year and a half. But like I say, we went from the business into the High Life update. Then we had the Not a Hipster update, which had some really cool cars.
Yeah, and saw stuff like the Warrener in there and shit like that.
They need to get that into Benny's, they really do.
Damn right.
Then we had the Independence Day update, which obviously fell on July the 4th or around that time.
And which is really only, I mean, I know they had like the Liberator monster truck in there and stuff like that. That's all kind of fallen by the wayside. The only thing I still see from that update now is fireworks.
Firework launcher, firework rocket launcher. The first biggest update for me was the flight school.
This was massive for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I really enjoyed that mode from from the story mode, and it had some really cool missions in there. You could earn a bit of cash from it. Obviously, there's a couple of planes that they added, and I think it was just an actual content with some gameplay.
Yeah, for me, that was the first time where I felt like they were not adding to the game but developing it.
Yeah, they've sort of realised that this is something that we can't just knock out cheap shit.
Skin after skin or car after car, yeah.
And then we had another new multiplayer, sort of deathmatch mode, and that was the last team standing.
Mm-hmm.
Then obviously we're back into Christmas with another festive surprise the following year, which is again is pretty much the same stuff: masks and clothes, and maybe the odd car or vehicle. But then we were followed, obviously, 18 or so months after they were promised. The big one was the heist.
Yeah, man, this was massive.
They were really, really solid.
Well thought out. In fact, and talking a little bit around the heist, because it was such a crucial update for me with GTA. They put in challenges which you guys were playing in the last week still.
Yeah, because we'd never done it.
So the Mastermind challenge.
Yeah, the criminal mastermind.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me about it.
So
it's a part of my life that I wish I forget.
So I think was it Weed G Styler? They've done this, haven't they?
Yes.
They've smashed it out like 7 times. Or something.
They've basically Sherpa'd loads of people for it, and my infinite skill and ability, I was unable to be Sherpa'd.
Nailed it. I don't think it was you, but
no, it's one of those that again, it's they go about it in a different way. I've only ever played the heist, sort of how they're supposed to be played. And where it's all just off the bat for them. There's no need to talk about, obviously, where we've got a couple of people that have never done it that way, so it's a case of what's the plan. I like to know what's coming up, basically, so I'm not surprised, and there was many surprises along the way. Along the 3 days of attempts.
So talking very quickly just a little bit more to it, what's the benefit of doing the criminal mastermind?
Lots of money.
How much?
It sort of works out, I think, about 14-15 million. Because obviously it's not just for the criminal mastermind. Obviously you've got your all-in-order bonus and then the same team or loyalty bonus. So you do all of the heists in order with the same team or the same group of people.
But and then more crucially, without...
with the criminal mastermind, you can't die.
Yeah.
You can fail them, but you can't die. Obviously the loyalty bonus, you can die as much as you fucking like, as long as you do it with those people. The same with the all-in-order. As long as you've done them all in order, then it's fine. But so obviously moving on from those because they offer some horrible, torturous memories.
Scars.
We had the Ill-Gotten Gains parts 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that was more cars and other bits and bobs to spend all the money you've earned in the heists.
Yep.
Then we had free mode events, which I think for me was a really, really big update because it actually encouraged you to stay in the free lobbies as opposed to just sort of fucking off into a private one.
Yeah, so this is basically where you're playing the game and ping in the bottom corner of your screen says starting in a few minutes is a challenge to do the longest wheelie or fly upside down over the map, staying low to the ground, shit like that.
Yeah, sort of. I think one of my favourite ones is obviously open the parachute as close to the ground as you get. Because you just watch when that one comes up. You can just watch in the bottom corner, and you can see at least like 80% of people. It's just like has died, blah blah blah, has died.
I also quite like the fact that you get the numbers going, and you're thinking, oh shit, this person's gonna stick my score, and then it goes ping, and then has died.
Yeah,
and you're like, fucker.
And you just watch and you think it's going to take you ages to get up that high and you're going to run out of time, so fuck you, suck my balls.
And the other one that I really liked in the sort of like free mode challenges is the one that is when you have to drive as far as you can without fucking up in reverse. And for me, it's really simple. Go to an airport.
Yep.
Go to an airport, just loop the airport round and round.
Yeah.
From the moment it starts to the moment it ends. Then you can see people trying to do the same but can't catch you. Yeah, love it.
Again, they do loads, like you say, drive as far as you can without crashing, and it's one of those, and you're following or trying to beat someone's score. Someone's obviously started before you, but you just see that theirs stops. You're like, nah, I'm driving around in the slowest car in the game. You're never gonna beat me. So yeah, the free modes event was a really good one. The one, again, they brought back the old let's take the piss with the cars one, which was the lowriders, but it was still a big update because they did drop in some more missions, and it was obviously Benny's Motorsport.
I was going to say, this is Benny's at this point.
Yeah, and it was go big or go home. That one requires an exorbitant amount of money to get everything.
So, I mean, let's just talk a little bit to the amount of money you're talking about. If you're looking to pimp out one of these cars, and this was back when you were looking at really basic, shitty vehicles.
I think at that point the most expensive vehicle was probably about $1 million. 1.1, 1.2 million.
It was north of that.
Yeah.
Because, we'll talk a bit more about it in a bit, but there are some dickheads out there who have to own everything and have to pimp everything out to the maximum extent. And, it's expensive.
Well, I really enjoyed that one because at that point, do you remember up until the heists, what was like the most solid car in the game? The Sultan. Four door, so you could get all your crew in there. 4-wheel drive, solid across most terrain. Stick a pair of off-road tyres, and then you've got a rally car.
Fast car. Yeah.
And then obviously Kuruma came out with heist updates, and it kind of fucking ended that, and the Sultan just sort of gathered dust in the garage.
Armoured Kuruma.
Yep, that's it. The old fucking rocket magnet itself.
Do you know what? Just excuse me, I keep interrupting you, but it just bubbles all these fond memories for me.
Yeah.
That idea, that point where four of you get into an armoured Kuruma and drive into the middle of like a biker gang's base or something, and they're like ding 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 ding, and you're like, okay. Now, boys, and everyone's just like, you can just dick everybody.
I love the idea that it's just like, right, you're going on a drive, and you're like, yeah, right, we're getting chased. Okay, I'm going to go make a cup of tea. Yeah, and you're just like, you're going to be fine when you get back. There might be a couple of little bars off of your health, but other than that, you'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine. So back to our updates.
Yeah, so yeah, obviously we had the Sultan.
Yep.
They brought that back. I mean, I put an exorbitant amount of money. I think it was like 800,000 GTA dollars, and this was still at the time when it was fairly difficult to earn money. Yeah,
for me, the most important thing about when I got the ability to upgrade my Sultan was to ensure that I had Princess Bubblegum on the front, pretty much with her legs apart on the bonnet of the car.
Legs akimbo.
The only thing I could do to kind of hide that a little bit was to have the Perspex bonnet so you could see the engine. Other than that,
did you not have the roof, the bonnet scoop?
Yes.
But
Park it in large.
So obviously by that point we get into the Halloween surprise. It was around that time. So again, Halloween surprise. But then we had another really big content drop, and that was the Executives and Other Criminals, which was a really big one for me because I think this was enabled people to actually earn some half decent money. Obviously you'd pay or what that was it, wasn't it? You had the executive or the VIP. So once you had $1 million in the bank, you could become a VIP, and then you could employ other people. You had different executive jobs. This was when the yachts come out.
Yeah.
That much to the chagrin of many people's bank accounts.
Yeah.
Because what it worked out, it was like 70 quid, wasn't it, to get like top,
8 million.
Yeah, so the top range, like all of the bells and whistles, 75 quid.
Yeah.
So obviously I still don't own one. And then so obviously by that point we're moving on to Christmas with another festive surprise, which was the same festive surprise as the year before.
Ooh, it's the same Santa mask.
Yeah, but I think there was another couple of cars.
Mm-hmm.
We had another new adversary mode dropped early 2016 with Drop Zone.
Drop Zone dropped, yeah.
Yeah, and then we had Be My Valentine, obviously again from Valentine's Day. I said it this first time. And then obviously they started bringing in some more lowriders. So this is where we saw the slam van that looked fucking awesome. I've still got to do that. A couple of the donk, which was just ridiculous.
Which they define as doing something completely fucking ludicrous to your car for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah. Which, fair enough.
I donk that bitch.
Yeah. And then again we had the further adventures in finance and felonies, which introduced the CEO element and obviously owning a business. So then you could then buy a custom warehouse, fill it with stock, sell it all on, and that again it started enabling you to earn some more money. Obviously they changed up the mission payouts by that point because they were ridiculous. I mean, some of the Simeon missions, you were spending more on ammo than you were earning.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it's just like, I remember back in the bad old days when do you remember the coveted playlists where the only way to earn any decent money was to do this one mission over and over again.
The Titan one, wasn't it?
No, coveted.
Oh, coveted. Sorry.
Yeah, because it was the only one you could put in a playlist. There was something that was fucked up and glitched in it, and you could actually save the mission. All of the other contact missions you can't save, but this one you could. So you could then put it into a playlist and just stick it in there 10 times, and it save all the loading hassle. Straight through into that next one and just do that. That's how I ended up earning the money for my buzzard.
Yeah.
Because I literally ground that fucker out for a month. If I never see that mission again, I've never touched it again. I found the playlist on my Xbox in my playlist, and I looked at it, I thought, do I have a go? And it just literally, my brain's just gone, fuck you.
You got to walk away from those sorts of things. Move on, Link. Move on.
I was just thinking that because there's some memories there that I don't want to return to.
You're not bitter about it at all.
No, it's one of those things. It was an unfortunate time that just had to be done. It's much like those days where you go to work and you're asked to do things that you really don't want to do.
Man, you spent too much time on that playlist.
God damn, too much time. But anyway, so moving on. But we did have the really good one, obviously mid last year, and that was the Cunning Stunts.
Words.
I love that one because obviously I remember it being from a Metallica documentary about one of their big stage shows, and I thought, I like it. I did to try and create a playlist, obviously just with stunning. I'm not even going to go there because that is a contentious one as well. But again, this brought in the really big, bombastic, crazy bastard races where you're spiralling up some of the towers in these giant death traps of doom. And again, it brought in some really cool cars like the old Omni, which is the Quattro.
Yeah, but also there's things like snipers and stunters, stuff like that. We stood on top of a building with a sniper rifle. People in cars have to basically hit a ramp and try and hit you with their car to take you out, and they've got to snipe you as you're doing. Great idea.
So that was obviously followed up pretty shortly afterwards with the Stunt Creator. So obviously this allows the community to start creating their own, which there are some unbelievable races. Went through probably about a month ago. Obviously went through the social club, started sort of compiling some really good ones, and again there does seem to be a sort of a fair trend where you've got like maybe sort of 2 dozen people that are really solid with their creations. There's just some really, really great stuff.
Then onto the biggie, which is kind of what's living the dream a lot at the moment. People are all up in this.
This was asked for, I think, from maybe like mid 2014 because there was this sort of subsect of people that were actually creating their own biker gangs to the point that you'd have a prospect crew which you had to join first, And as long as you did the right things and you saluted people in the right way and you wore the right jacket and the right clothes and whatnot,
sucked them off.
You could then be promoted into the proper biker crew.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was like, I mean, I've never seen a game other than something like The Sims where people get into a lifestyle or a fantasy as much as they have with GTA. I mean, there's people that go around acting like cops, and they will go in and try and arrest people and shoot people because they're being naughty.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Bikers DLC was a really, really big one. Obviously, it opened up the possibility for more businesses. Obviously, it was a more narcotics ventures, counterfeiting kind of stuff.
Yeah, all those sorts of meth labs, just lots, weed farms, cocaine,
all loads of
cocaine.
Really loads of really quality bikes. Again, there's a lot more customization for the bikes as well. Again, for me, it was a really, really good content update.
Yep.
And then we saw the Halloween from obviously the year just gone, which again, it's just a few more cars.
Yeah, rat rods for a little bit with some like Monster-esque paintwork.
Yeah, that's it. And they brought back the previous cars, which obviously holiday timed.
Roosevelt Valor, all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
And then for me though, the really big one, the last update that we saw was the import-export garage, which obviously enables you to buy a vehicle warehouse, fill it with loads of stolen cars, and then sell them on for a really good amount of money. I mean, I looked on my stats the other day, and not even really taking it that seriously, I've already earned nearly 7 million from it.
Yeah.
And spent every single fucking penny of it.
Oh, good effort, Pod.
But I mean, looking through it, and that's 12 big content drops that we've seen over the 3 years. So that's, I mean, for a game that you've not had to pay a penny for, not had to.
Yeah.
That's a pretty solid return.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you're talking about the import-export. I have a warehouse full of cars. I think I've sold 2 of them.
Yeah.
Just full of cars, Saturday, all covered over in sheets.
Yeah.
I'm sure they look lovely.
But I mean, looking at it, I was talking about Destiny, and it's been around roughly the same amount of time, released roughly at the same time, and they've had 4 drops.
Yep.
And you had to pay for every single fucking one of them.
Yep.
In fact, they make sure that you lose content which you've already paid for, unless you buy the new one.
You're so not bitter about that at all.
No, I mean...
Really stuck in your crawl.
I'm not as bitter as someone like Panasonic, who basically was really disgruntled because he was a £200 beta tester.
Yeah, he was. We all were, yeah.
Because obviously he bought all of the DLC up until that point at the wrong time. So obviously I waited until the Taken King came out before I got the House of Wolves updates and all of that. So I only paid 40 quid for the fucking lot of them.
Yep.
But yeah, you see some companies and the way they go about it, and it's a real... Don't worry, you may feel a pinch, but it's necessary.
Yeah, well, no, not Rockstar have done it well. Like you say, you don't have to buy any of the updates, and you can play your way through to get up enough cash to buy anything which they put in the updates. And for me, the bit that I like the most is you could not spend... Well, no, that's not strictly true. You could not spend a lot of the in-game cash and play all of the content.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you have to buy Vehicle Warehouse and it's got some costs associated to it. But the bottom line is you don't have to.
Don't get me wrong, it's a massive, massive grind. But it wasn't... when we first started, and I was 10 years, obviously it was talking about that what we shall not name, and having to play that for literally a solid 3 weeks just to get the 1.7 million. I mean, now you can spend a day and you can earn 1.5-2 million, no fucking problems. I mean, it's...
Buy a buzzard.
Yeah. I mean, they've been pretty good, Rockstar, all things considered, with keeping up with what the community wants.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the problem with before Heist came out is where all of the live team were working on those, and obviously they've come out and they've admitted the problems that they had, and they've explained that yes, we could have released them early, but they would have been shit, and there would have been points where there's just one person just sat there in a car going, so these heists are fun.
Yeah.
So I can understand. I mean, I was really pissed off that, because I was at that point fucking eating up any news I could about GTA Online, and every other month it was no heists. They've put some files in there. Heists are coming next month, and I was yeah they're definitely in January, and then obviously January rolls around. It's like was it this January you meant?
Yeah, yeah.
So but once that drops, they've done.
I think what Rockstar have done is they've kind of they've made some promises, but the bottom line is that they have delivered on them eventually, and what they have delivered, they've done well.
Yeah.
I guess my point of interest right now is where you find yourself in GTA now. What do you find yourself doing on, we are 3 years later, 3.5 years later.
I know, it's almost unheard of to be playing, like, I remember when I was younger and you can only buy like 1 or 2 games a year. Yeah, you played that game for 3 years because you had no money. But now I have some money.
I have the ability to buy more games, but you still find yourself playing this.
Yeah, I mean, I've got probably over 100 games on my Xbox One. I've maybe played 5% of them. Like, obviously, admittedly, most of them are games with gold or sale ones, but I still keep going back to GTA. It's still that game that if I just want to have a fuck about for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, half an hour, 3 hours, a whole entire day, I can sit there on GTA for a whole day and still enjoy it as much as when I first started.
So what are you doing now then? Well, so, for example, if you were playing it yesterday, what were you doing?
Well, it's just a case of helping out. Obviously, it's pretty much the same things. Just trying to earn a bit of cash, have a bit of a giggle, and obviously get some cash for some more cars that I haven't got. Obviously, now we've got a ridiculous amount of garages and storage. I can go back to get the cars that I always wanted to get at the start that I didn't have the space for, because you'd have to obviously sacrifice another car which you spent sort of what I would equate to 7 hours worth of like play time to get. You think, like, fuck, am I getting rid of that? To then have to spend another 7-8 hours doing that one up, to then in a 2-3 months when new ones come out to get rid of that one, to then spend another 7-8. So it's just going back and trying to revisit some of the old stuff, but still, just trying to have a giggle and earn a bit of cash and enjoy the amazing sandbox that it still is.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a kind of a running joke that if you could be any avatar, if you could do any, if you could be any avatar, what would you be? And I'd be my gaming avatar in GTA, because he's incredibly well funded.
Yeah.
I mean, my avatar has yachts.
So your avatar's like the GTA equivalent of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, he's loaded to the hilt. He's got every bit of military kit that he wants. He's got, the maze bank with every floor that you can get in it. He's got the largest vehicle warehouses. He's got the most expensive businesses, and all of that has, left me in a position slightly, shall I say, away from the, distant from the rest of my gaming group.
So basically, you're now experiencing what is. I
wouldn't say it's buyer's remorse.
No, it's that thing when you get sort of very successful people that are the little people and their little concerns. I'm just going to go off and sit on my luxury yacht and sip champagne.
This is where I need to develop some sort of mental issue, and that's the battle I deal with. But no, I mean, my character is now at a point where I can just go, okay, do we want to turn that part of the map into glass? Yes, let's do this. I used an example the other day where I literally went into a game, and I'm quite a mellow character in GTA from the point of view that I don't do a lot of trolling, I don't cause people a lot of shit, but I am a great believer of, if you want to pick a fight, have a fight. And I got into a situation the other day, somebody had a pop at me, so immediately I called mercenaries on them. They were mugged. I put called in bounties, all that. I put when they put airstrike on top of them. Lock, stock, the lot. I will go out and get a tank, and I will follow you around the map. I will get a Hydra. I will. I've got all the time in the world for that, and unfortunately, my avatar has all the resourcing as well to be able to do it. But that leaves me in a place where GTA to me is now a sandbox only. I am not driven around trying to get more cash to, buy another car. We've seen 2 reasonably expensive cars drop recently: Spectre, the Progen, ITB Progen, and immediately they're in the collection. So it's like, well, I need to do something about this. So when I am helping, I'm my general approach is, hey guys, what are you doing? How can I help? But after I've gone and collected packets of supplies for people or helped them sell their Coke for the 3rd or 4th time, it's a bit like, well, if I wasn't such a nice guy, I'd probably be trolling you right now.
Yeah. I'd be like, oh, I've nearly fallen down a cliff.
Oh no! Your car straight into a lake. I'm sorry. And it's left me in a bit of a peculiar place where all I want to do is effectively fuck around in it.
Yeah.
So I was saying it's the meta games that I really, really enjoy. It's the whole I'm going to try and attack the military base. So can 7 of us go in and just cause as much havoc in the base and get out again and get away with no stars without paying Leicester off? That's the kind of thing I like, My other one that I've recently really enjoyed doing, Fagio fishing.
Oh, that is good fun though.
Get yourself a Fagio, which is a little Vespa effectively. Paint it as, all of my stuff, I wouldn't say all my cars, but all of my weapons and my apparel and all this is usually faggy pink to this bright pink to try and draw people out that they don't like. Hot pink is my colour.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? You sort of try and create this sort of obnoxious looking character that is just going to annoy people. Yeah. Because people are assholes.
And that pink on a Fagio has now become faggy pink to me because it just works brilliant. You get on a Fagio, you paint it pink, you put some leopard skin seats on it, you put like a really annoying horn, like wah, 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 or something like that, and then you just chase people around, and what they'll do is they'll jump in a car and they'll hoon off, and you spend 20 minutes getting to the same point on the map of them, and then it's like that fucking guy in that Fagio is back again, and you start sending messages like, hey, you'll never get my bike, it's mine. So at some point or another,
you're not cool enough for a bike like this.
All that sort of shit. And haha, you thought you got it, but it's still mine, and all this sort of stuff. And eventually somebody has enough, they knock you off your bike, they grab the Fagio and race off into the distance to find out that you've put a bomb on it. And Fagio fishing is great fun, but this is the kind of meta games, these little things. I kind of like the idea of like defend your yacht, get like 6 of your mates on the yacht, piss a load of people off or intimidate or just generally try and pull out a load of people to have a go, and then you just sit on the yacht and lock it down, sit in the bar getting pissed whilst all the things are going outside, amazing.
There is a lot to be said. It's something that I've never really seen in a game, is that, like I say, the communities and the meta games that have surrounded it. There's this massive stunt coalition of people that, some of the BMX stuff that I've seen on there, and even with the jets, where people are pulling the most ridiculous stunts, like you've got the Merryweather base on the docks. Like, people have gone in there with not the Hydra but the laser jet. They've gone in there, zoomed in there, pulled a 180 and flown back out of it.
Nice touch.
And you're just like, how the fuck have you done that?
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
And I was like, I'm gonna have a go at that. 4 hours later, several jets and an exorbitant medical bill.
Yeah,
I gave up.
Yeah, I've seen, there's videos of people like taking the what's the small fighter jet, not the fighter jet, just a small stunt.
The Mallard.
Yeah, and just like losing a few wings off of it and still just like spinning it around the map and stuff like that. It's really impressive stuff. But one of the first things that we did when we started playing this game was the legend that is the Futo. Right?
Futo's awesome car.
It's effectively a small little Honda S style car.
Yeah, pick any sort of like hatchback from the 80s, a European sort of Japanese hatchback. Little drift machine, basically. Yeah,
and the objective was, I think 5 of us just went, first one to, we sat in the middle of the city and just went, right, first one to the top of Mount Chiliad. That in itself was brilliant laugh.
And at 45 minutes, I think that went on for.
Yeah.
Because you would all be pretty much going the same way, because you'd all going by GPS. So you'd stick your waypoint up, wouldn't you? And then you'd be going and you'd be like, I'm in first. And obviously somebody else would be behind you. And then all of a sudden you just see the the car spin round and it go over on its thing and just watch it tumble past you, and all you hear in the headset is no, motherfucker. And then it would start again, and like you say, you would eventually get to that point and you'd be like, right, I'm not going to attack it that way, I'm going to go a different way, and it goes all wrong, and then like you say, the person behind you is then experiencing the thing that you've just seen, and yeah, it's superb fun.
I mean, without sort of dragging this out too much, but there's still things going on. Recently Kotaku put a piece around how 1 million car trolling, people who go around blowing stuff up. What they do is they take a very average looking car, pimp it out to the hilt, and then make it so that it's 20 grand's worth of more insurance every time you blow
it up. It's costing you a good chunk of change,
and they just go around finding the people who wreck people's cars and cost them a lot of money, and stuff like that. But I mean, one of the ones that I really like is just I love getting into a random map with a random bunch of people and just following people around. It's amazing how unnerving people get, or unnerved people get, when you just follow them around. Yeah. You don't shoot them, you don't attack them, you just follow them.
It's that quiet menace though, isn't it?
That looming shadow, yeah.
I mean, we were talking about this obviously when we were discussing it before we recorded, and when it started, it was, if you saw a random person, it was, that guy's here to shoot me, I'm going to fuck him up before he even gets a chance.
Yeah.
And it was, you'd see it, you'd never trust anybody. And I think there's still that one thing that most people are probably on the same scenario as you, and thinking, I just want to get this done, I want to get this money earned, and I just want to be able to buy this. But you just think, no, you're here to fuck me up. You're going down before I do.
Yeah.
Shoot first.
Ask no questions later.
Go and find them and keep shooting them.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. And, it's funny, I've built some really good gaming relationships by just randomly meeting people. I had one particular guy, a guy called Terrible Ted. When I first met him, I was just doing that thing where I was just following him around, and then suddenly he started racing with me, and we kind of got involved with just some random bits of fun. He had himself he had himself a Kuruma, and then you start the conversation of like, should we get some other cars and try some of these jumps? Oh, I haven't got right here. Try this vehicle, and you develop this sort of relationship with people that you would never dream of talking to, just based on the fact that you're having a drive.
Yeah.
And I really, really liked that, and I hope to do a lot more of it in the future. I want to get back to enjoying it as a fun sandbox and not a grind for money.
Yeah. Well, speaking as a grind for money, what do you look for? What do you think's next for GTA in 2017?
For me, there's only really... I don't know where they're going to go with it, but there are sort of two things that I would like to see. And, this is me going in well status, money, it doesn't matter. I want to see casinos.
Yeah.
I want to see casinos. I want to see horse racing, that sort of gambling thing. I'm not a gambler. In my real life, I do not gamble at all. It doesn't interest me. I've had the displeasure of working in a casino. It's not a place to be. But I do like the idea of 7 of your mates sat around a blackjack table, just spanking a load of cash one night and be like, why? I kind of like that idea. And the other piece I'd really, really like to see is I'd like to see less labour-intensive businesses. If you've got the funding... if you've got the funding to be able to buy a business, I would like it to be able to run itself and generate cash. That's what businesses do. I want to be able to buy hire a manager to run the business. I want to hire people to do the bits of the business. I want to know that's going on. I don't mind if occasionally some shit happens where I've got to go help them out or fix something, but I don't want to have, what's the idea of owning a business when you're the person always going to get the supplies, to put it in, to then go and deliver it? It's not a business, it's work.
Well, I was thinking about the warehouse one, because I think they do need to update that a bit. But yeah, as opposed to because you've got to buy the supplies each one and then go and pick them up and then drop them off. Obviously, get your lackeys to do it. That's kind of the point, and you just sit there in the office sipping drinks or whatever. But you get bored as shit doing that. But I like the idea that you pay some money, it gets put in there, and okay, you've got to deliver it or you've got to oversee it. But I don't mind paying that extra bit more to save me the hassle of doing it, because I can go and earn money elsewhere.
Yeah, and I'd also quite like to see some element of how can I put it? Not so much. I want to get on. Sounds awful. I want to get on the ball sack. I want to do some money management. If you've got some funds and you can play the stock markets on there, they had it on there and they basically just closed it online straight off the bat, and it's never come back. I want to get back on the ball sack.
Yeah, I think it because it was touted at first, wasn't it? Because the online would directly influence the main game with the, like you say, with the stock market, and then it was just a case of just buy ammunition stock because you know that's the only one that's going to ever keep going up.
Yeah.
Because you know everyone's going to constantly be buying ammo.
But I like the idea of saying, right, okay, so I'm going to invest in, bloody GTA. Doesn't matter what I say. It
sounds ridiculous.
Schlongberg and Sachs or Sprunk, But if I want to invest in Sprunk, so it identifies a lot of meteor trucks around the. Let me go influence it to bounce my cash up.
That's it.
So I want to see that. Anything for you?
No, it's pretty much the same, to be honest. I think Casino, because it's one of those. I think Rockstar have been trolling us for years with it because there's been stuff put into the code.
We know it's there.
There's avatars or NPC characters that have got casino uniforms. I've never seen them out in the wild.
Nope.
So it's not like it's just some guy that works at the casino. There's actual sound files. I think that was a massive troll because they were the second thing up until that point, other than heists, that was people were after was the casino. So obviously you've got this big massive building that's just untouched. There's nothing. You don't do anything with it. Like you say, the horse racing track. You don't even see fucking horses on it.
Yeah.
It just stays empty. Occasionally you get cars going around it.
I mean, Christ, they've got them designed for Red Dead. Use them.
Yeah.
Use them. Okay, so I guess there we are then, folks. A lengthy episode. A lengthy episode of the B Button this week. It's GTA. It's that monster game. So, Link, for you?
I hope they continue to support it for a little while longer before Red Dead.
Yeah, continue to do it, folks. We love it. So, from Angry Link, it's...
Adios.
And from me, it's ciao, Bella.